Hello people. Today we will discuss about brand management. This will be a two-part video, and this is the part one. This video is useful for UGC management and commerce, and those students who are pursuing courses like MBA, BBA, BCom, MCom, and other management-related courses. The topics covered are brand and brand equity concept, branding decision hierarchy, and brand equity models. It comprises of brand asset valuated model, Aker model, brand resonance model, and brands model. Let's start. So what is a brand? A brand is a name, term, sign, symbol, design, or combination of some or all of them to identify the goods and services of one seller or group of sellers and to differentiate them from those of the competitors. So a brand is something which differentiates it from other products. Okay, like Mercedes-Benz, it has a particular symbol or logo which differentiates it from other brands. So for consumers, a brand is a promise between the firm and the consumer. It is a means to set customers' expectations and reduce their risks. Obviously, that is what a brand loyalty is, because consumers trust that particular brand and he buys products from that particular brand. So it is a means to set customers' expectation. So now comes the brand equity. Put simply, brand equity represents the value of a brand. It is the simple difference. Let me highlight it. A simple difference between the value of a branded product and the value of the product without the brand. That is branded and non-branded. Without the brand name attached to it. It is the added value endowed to products and services with consumers. So it is the added value. Okay. So a brand equity is, it represents that this brand has a particular value, that this brand represents high quality or service, like that. So the marketing advantages of a strong brand are marketing advantages. Notice the keywords, okay? I'm highlighting them. The marketing advantages of a strong brand are greater loyalty. If a brand is good, then obviously people will buy more from that particular brand or company. Improved perceptions of products performance. Okay, less vulnerability to competitive marketing actions. When a brand is good, obviously people will buy from that particular brand, and so there will be less competition. Like Titan. Titan is a brand for watches. Now the increased marketing communication effectiveness and improved employee recruitment and retention. Okay, allows to charge premium prices and thus to get larger margins. Obviously, when a brand is so good that it can charge higher prices and people will buy it because they are reliable, they serve good product, and they are of high quality. Greater trade and cooperation and support. Okay, greater financial market returns. So these are the advantages of a strong brand. Okay, moving on. So now comes the branding decision hierarchy. First comes the branding decision, that should we brand the product or not. Then comes brand sponsor decision. This means who will spend for establishing and running the brand. There are different types of brands here, like who will spend or not, like manufacturer brands. Okay. They are developed and owned by producers. They are also known as national brands, like example like LG, BPL, Bajaj, Pulsar. They are kind of national brands. Then comes distributed brands. They are developed and owned by reseller, such as wholesaler or retailer. Okay. Now comes generic brands. They are unbranded. They are plainly packaged. We have seen these in markets. It doesn't include company name, like the plain potato chips. Sometimes they are just in plain packet and they don't have a particular company name on the packet. Then comes licensed brands. Here owners provide license or authority to other sellers to use their brand names under conditions, like Domino's Pizza, Mio More. Now comes co-branding. Here it is the cooperation of two manufacturers of brand goods for one product. Okay. Then comes the brand name decision. We will discuss them all in details in the later video, and today it is all about brand equity models. Okay. Then comes the brand name decisions. These are the individual names like Anjali Jewelers, uh, blanket family names like they're with the family business types like Senko Gold and Sons, separate family names, company individual names, various types of the branding name decisions. Then comes the brand strategy decisions. Here comes line extension, brand extension, multi-brands. We will all discuss in the next video. Okay, it is a brand equity models video. This is a video on brand equity models. So just stay tuned. Brand repositioning decision. Should we change our decision to reposition it or not? Should we change our strategy or not? That is the main thing. Okay. Then comes the next slide. Then this is the core part of this video, the brand equity models. Okay. The first is the brand asset valuator model or the BAV model. It is developed by advertising agency Young and Rubicam. It compares the brand equity of thousands of brands. It compares the brand equity of thousands of brands across hundreds of different categories. Okay, it is self-explanatory. Here, the key components are energized differentiation. Okay, you can see the diagram. It is the degree to which a brand is seen as different from others. Is the point of parity. Then comes the relevance, measures the appropriateness of the brand's appeal. Okay, how appropriate the brand is to you. Esteem, measures the perceptions of quality and loyalty, how you regard the brand actually. Knowledge, it measures how aware and familiar consumers are with the brand. That is an intimate understanding of the brand. Okay. And energized differentiation and relevance comprise of brand strength. You can see here brand strength, and esteem and knowledge comprises of brand stature. So brand strength and brand stature combine to form the power grid depicting stages in the cycle of brand development. According to BAV analysis, consumers are concentrating their devotion and purchasing power on an increasingly smaller portfolio of special brands. Okay, brands with energized differentiation that keeps evolving. Those are emerging brands. Now comes the Aker model. Here the David Aker has defined brand equity in his Aker model. It defines brand equity as a group of assets and liabilities that can be directly associated with the brand and that which adds values to the product. So this is the Aker models diagram. See this brand equity. There are components like brand loyalty, brand awareness, perceived quality, brand association, other proprietary brand assets. So what is brand loyalty? Brand loyalty explains the level of loyalty that a customer shows towards a brand. Brand awareness, the extent to which the brand is popular in the market. Next comes the perceived quality, the image of a product and its quality in the eyes of the customers. Okay. Then comes associations, the level of recognition that a brand has in its product category. Then the proprietary assets and the brand owns, the number of patents it has, the number of intellectual property rights, trademarks, etc. that a brand has. Okay. Next, moving on. Brand resonance model. The brand resonance model, the brand resonance indicates how well we relate to a specific brand. How well we relate, let me highlight it, to a specific brand and how intense our relationship is with the brand. Mainly it is a psychological bonding with the brand. Okay. We may grow up with the brand, we love it, we want to talk about it and share it with others. It makes us feel good, comfortable, happy, joyful and even loved. It's the brand we trust, okay, and want to buy, use over and over again. That is brand resonance. So in short, resonance is the intensity of a customer's psychological bond with the brand and the level of activity it engenders. Brand with high resonance are like Harley Davidson, Apple, eBay, Amazon, etc. Brand salience. See the model. Okay, in the bottom it's salience, then comes the performance imagery, then comes judgment feelings, then comes resonance. So what is brand salience? Brand salience is how often and how easily customer think of the brand, how often and how easily customers think of the brand under various purchase or consumption situations. The depth and breadth of brand awareness. See there, here it is written as deep, broad brand awareness. Then comes brand performance. How well the product or service meets customers' functional needs. Okay. How will it help me actually? Points of parity and difference. Now comes the brand imagery. Brand imagery describes the extrinsic properties of the product or service, including the ways in which the brand attempts to meet customers' psychological or social needs. Okay? These are self-explanatory. I am not explaining them, but you can understand it. Now comes brand judgments. It focuses on customers' own personal opinions and evaluations. Then comes your brand feelings. Okay, what is brand feeling? It is the customer's emotional responses and reactions with respect to the brand. Then finally comes the brand resonance. That's the topmost block of the pyramid. Brand resonance, it describes the relationship customers have with the brand and the extent to which they feel they are in sync with it. They are in synchronization. Okay. So this goes the brand resonance model. Next comes the brands model. It is developed by marketing research consultants, okay, Millward Brown and WPP. Okay. So brands is a tool and is used to diagnose and predict brand equity. In this model, data is collected with the help of interviewers and publicly available data. Consumers of different brands are asked questions about the brand that they know. So there are 5 steps in this model. You can see them. And at the bottom there is presence, then comes relevance, then comes performance, then comes advantage, then comes bonding. So first the presence, the bottom one. That means the active familiarity based on the past trial, saliency, knowledge of brand promise. Then comes relevance. Relevant, is it relevant to the customer needs? That's what it says. Then comes performance, belief that it delivers acceptable product performance, belief. Okay. Then comes advantage. This is also a belief that the brand has an emotional or rational advantage. Then comes bonding, rational and emotional attachment to the brand to the exclusion of most other brands. That this particular brand is my favorite than other brand. That is the rational and emotional attachment. Okay, I am giving priority to a particular brand. So the research has shown that the bonded consumers, that is the final stage, the bonding, those at the top level of the pyramid. You can see that bonding is at the top level of the pyramid. Build stronger relationships with the brand and spend more of their category expenditures on the brand than those at the lower level. Obviously, when you grow this bonding, you will obviously buy that from that particular brand only, because you have bonded with it. You have a rational and emotional attachment with that particular brand. More consumers, however, will be found at the lower levels. The challenge for the marketers is to develop activities and programs that help consumers move up the pyramid. Okay, so this is thanks for watching this video. This is the part 1 of brand management. I will upload a video very soon, within 1 to 2 days, about the brand management part 2, where we will discuss the other topics. Do like and subscribe if you found this helpful, and also leave a comment. I have given my email ID in the description box. Okay, so I have added a quote: learning is not about earning but a way of loving. Thank you. Stay safe. Take care of your family.